Okay, good morning. My name is Adam Hawkins. This is CIT230. We are looking today, my project is on usability and web design. And so as you go through, it's a pretty interesting thing to think about. So usability means to test, 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 and test again. Usability is a quality attribute that assesses how easy a user interfaces are to use. The word usability also refers to methods for improving ease of use during the design process. So one of the first things that I realized after studying and going through the presentation is that many people think that usability is something that's done just at the end of your web design. You start to, once the design process is done, you start to go through and look at usability, and I think that couldn't be further from the truth. That needs to be a part of the whole process all the way through. You need to, even from analysis to looking at prototypes, evaluating how every process is going to go through. So let's get a little more into usability and we'll go back to that point again. So there's really 5 quality components to usability. Component 1 is learnability. So how easy is it for a user to accomplish basic tasks the first time they encounter the design? And I think this is the most important thing, is why it's the first component, is when somebody goes to your website, how easy is it for them to find the information they're looking for? And in an everyday life, I think this is exactly what we all look for when we go to something. Typically, when we go on the web, we pick up something and we want to find information. Whether we're looking for a product to purchase, whether we're looking for information for school, we want something that's going to make it easier. And I think Google is a beautiful example of how easy they've made it to find the information you're looking for. That learnability of how to use Google is just so basic. So it's one of the first ones I thought of. Component 2 is efficiency. Once users have learned the design, how quickly can they perform the task? And I think this is something that gets a lot of people hung up when it comes to web design, when it comes to building, how they want their website design to flow. We get so focused sometimes on SEO, and don't get me wrong, I know you guys are going to have other presentations on SEO this week, and it's important, but we get so focused on SEO and how we're going to perform on Google and other things that we forget to look about how efficient it is for people to use our website. So for example, in the case where we built the storm, where we had the storm page, where people could report on different storms we're having, how easy do we make that to do? Because if we want that information, we need to make it easier for somebody to go through and be able to do that. So next component to talk about is memorability. So when a user returns to the design after a period of time not using it, how easily can they reestablish proficiency? And I think this is one of those traps, again, that we can fall into, where we're constantly changing our website, whether we have better ideas, different things that come up, but we're constantly going through and making changes to the website for SEO or different reasons. And it makes it so when the person comes back, they have to relearn everything and start over again. And so you want the website to be memorable both in a couple of ways. You want them to remember that they went to your website and they were successful, so they come back again. But also when they get back there, they again can find the information they're looking for. So I think that's pretty crucial. Next one is errors. The component 4 we want to talk about is how many errors do users make, how severe are these errors, and how easily can they recover from these areas. And it's interesting, I've also taken a software development design class, and this is what we're talking about this week. But when you think about errors, it can be so devastating, whether they find a 404 page not found, different things like that. You want to avoid those errors, but making sure that the errors are not user developed. So for example, like you don't want a customer or a person going to your website to be able to go on there and find and accidentally get to something they're not supposed to, or to look for ways that it would be easier for them not to make errors on the website. I think would be the best way to go. So component 4 is errors. And last but not least, satisfaction. How pleasant is it to use your design? And I think really this is what it all comes down to, is making sure the customer is finding the information they're looking for, whether you're having an online store, whether you're going through and just providing information, whether it's a blog, you want them to be satisfied with what they found. And I think the example of an online store, we can look at Amazon. They've made it so easy to find the product you're looking for, to be able to compare it to other products with the similar products that they do below the drop down. And then the checkout process is just as fast as can be. I mean, I've never found it so easy to purchase something, and scary at times, how easy it is to click that button and to spend your money. But it's very satisfying, like that whole process all the way through to find what I was looking for, to purchase it, to have the right product, to look at the reviews and make sure it's correct. It's all satisfying and make sure it's there for you. So look at that when you're doing your own web design. So in conclusion, good usability is not attained overnight. It requires thorough user research and an interactive approach to constant testing and refining. And I think this is the key to the whole part, as I was saying when we first started. It depends on you whether the website is learnable, efficient, memorable, error-free, and satisfying. But to obtain all these things, you have to test. And the hard part is, I feel like as many times as the web designer, you're too engrossed in it. So you think like, oh, that's just how it works. It's so easy. I think that testing needs to be done by your peers and people outside of the normal design team as well. You need to hand it off to somebody who's never used it before and ask them to give you feedback and input on what they struggle with, what they used. And so there's just a couple of the resources that I found. There's tons of great information out there. It was really interesting. You know, you think about web design and you think about a beautiful website that people can go to and they can look at. It's very important. But this usability, the ability for somebody to go to your website, to be successful, to be able to find the information they're looking for, to be satisfied with what you produce for them, I think that's huge. So thank you so much for your time.